بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome dear students. This is Miss Layla Al-Jihani. Inshallah today we will continue our unit Drive Slowly. Today inshallah we will cover the lesson 10, the project. Before we start, let's recall what we covered in our previous lesson. In our previous lesson we covered the reading. Okay, we read the passage, we answered questions related to the passage as we can see, and we answered, it was basically about driving on which side of the road. Is it your country, you're driving on the left or on the right side of the road. Every country, they have their own rules, and we talked about it yesterday and we answered the questions. Inshallah today in our lesson we will do the project. Okay, what are you gonna do in our lesson today? You will be able to make a poster with a list of driving tips and safety rules. You will write your own list. You will advise your friend who is a new driver. Okay, this is what we will cover inshallah in our lesson. I gave you a homework which is page 99. You have these questions. You have to answer it based on the text, okay? The text basically in the first paragraph, it was an introduction. They told you a story about a teenager who was driving recklessly, and when he arrived home, he told his mother, I'm fine, I'm okay, I just arrived home. It's just an introduction to tell you how reckless teenage drivers might be. And then they started to tell us how it is proven, the numbers and statistics. They told you that many teenage students, especially when they are driving with friends their own age, they drive recklessly. And they started to wonder why this is happening, why they drive in a dangerous way, in a reckless way. Some people said that maybe the reason is they don't have the experience as the adult person has, and they started to look for a solution for this problem. They want to find the solution, how they will fix this problem. So some countries, they put a law to allow 16 years old drivers to drive, but with an adult. This is one of the solutions. And when they reach a mature age, they can drive alone. Okay? And they told them you cannot drive at night. This is some of the rules and solutions they had. And they found it is a good way and a good law. Okay? So the questions here, I'm sure you did the answers. Let's do it together. Why was Colin driving recklessly on the way to Mark's house? This is related to the first passage, the introduction, okay? He ran a red light and he ran a stop sign. He didn't follow the rules, okay? Question 2, which of these is less safe than the other? A car with a teenager driving alone, or a car with a teenage driving with a friend? Which, based on the passage when you read it, which one is more dangerous? A teenager driving alone or with a teenager friend? They mentioned it, a car with a teenager driving with friends is less safe. They tend, the teenager, to show off in front of their peers, their colleagues, their friends. They're not scared, they are used to drive, so they tend to break the law, okay? Question 3, what are 2 ideas that people have about why teenage driving is sometimes a problem? Teenagers are too young to drive. This is one of the reasons they said. Teenagers are new drivers. As we discussed, I think in the 3rd paragraph, they mentioned these reasons, and they tried to find the reason behind their reckless driving. Question 4, what limits does a teenager with a graduate license have at first? At first, the teenager must drive with an adult. This is one of the solutions they provided in the last paragraph, okay? This is the homework I gave you, and you answered these questions. What did you get from this passage? What can we say? what should we do? Inshallah, after a few years, you will drive. Will you do the same as the first? Will you run on red lights, or you will follow the rules of traffic in your country? You should follow these rules. We should follow the law to be safe. This is not just to tell you that you have to follow it. La, this is to keep you safe and your family and everyone around you, okay? So we should obey the rule, and we should keep the safety rules in our mind when we drive, inshallah, in the future, okay? Now, if we are moving on, we had the small part, the last part of our reading. Yesterday, we didn't have time. Last class, we didn't have time to do it, okay? So we only have this discussion, this small part. We will do it, inshallah, together, okay? We will read the first question. What are some problems due to people driving on different sides of the road in different places? This is, you can find it in page 19, okay, the discussion. So the first question, tell us some problems when people drive who are used to drive on the left, they go to a different country, they drive on the right. Do you think they will face problems? Do you think there will be a confusion? Okay, yes, you do, you think. Maybe it will cause what? Can you tell me some of the problems that will happen? Yes, it may cause some accidents. I remember one of my friends, she went to London. Okay, in our country, we are used to drive on the left. And she went to London, they drive on the right, okay? But when she wanted to pass the street, she's not driving a car, she just wanted to cross the street. She was looking there for the cars, and when she wanted to cross, suddenly the car came speeding from here, because she's not used to it. Our mind is fixed on a certain way, okay? So it may cause confusion, it may cause accidents. Okay? Now, question 2, do you think that there should be one standard for the whole world? Do you think everywhere around the world we should follow the same rule? We should all drive on the left, or we should all drive on the right? Do you think we should do that? Some of you said yes, we should all be the same. طيب, if we do that, what happened to the cars? Because the cars, the manufacturers, if you remember from the reading yesterday, we said some cars are designed and manufactured to right driving, and some on the left driving. What will happen to these cars? This is one problem we will face. And some of you said every country, they have their own rule, and everyone should obey these rules. I may agree with you. So every one of us has, there is no right or wrong answer. You have your own opinion. The last question for the discussion. Do you remember the story about Sweden? There is a part about Sweden in our reading yesterday. Okay? What problems do you think Sweden had when it changed from left and right? Do you remember Sweden? They were designed to drive on the left, and suddenly they changed the law in their country to drive on the right. What do you think they faced? Was it easy to change? The change from right to wrong, do you think it's easy? If you think about our country here, if we want to change, do you think it's easy to change? No, we have to do many things. Can you think about the things we have to do? We have to redesign the roads. We have to change the traffic lights, the traffic signs. Everything will be changed. Also, I think the cars should be changed from left to right, or from right to left. Okay, so we have to do many things to avoid the problems we face when we change from one place to another. Sweden, it took them a long time to change, a lot of preparation, a lot of change in the streets and signs, okay? Now, for our lesson today, we have our project also on page 19. You have the small part. Before you do the project, I want you to think about causes of accidents, car accidents. What do you think can cause a car accident? When you look around the street, when you see an accident, what do you think the cause of these accidents? Can you tell me why? Excellent. They use the cell phone. They are distracted using their cell phones. That's why it can cause car accidents. Can you think about another reason? Excellent. Speeding. Excellent. Can you try to draw and think with your colleagues to draw a map, a mind map, reasons you think which is the cause of car accidents? And then let's see the one I did. I'm sure you have more examples and reasons. The first reason I thought of is speeding. When people don't follow the speed limit on the streets, it can cause accident. Running red lights, if they don't when they see the red light and they run the red light, it can cause an accident. Poor weather, sometimes the rain, the snow, it can cause the car to slide and it can cause accident. Okay? Reckless driving, if the driver doesn't follow the rules, if he doesn't leave a safe distance between him and the car in front of him, it can cause. And also using phone, when you are distracted using your phone, or when you're talking to your family and your people are screaming and you're talking to them, not paying attention to the road, it can cause car accidents. Now for our project, it's related to avoid these accidents. Okay? How? They want you to work with a partner. This is the first thing. You will not work alone. You will work with your friend. This is the first step. You have to research and prepare a list of driving tips and safety rules. Imagine that your friend is a new driver. You have to give him advices and give him safety rules to avoid the accidents, avoid these being in an accident, okay? Make a poster to display in class. You have to make a poster, okay? You have to put the safety rules. You have to put some pictures to make it appealing and give it to your friend driving, and you can the new driver, and you can display it in front of your class. Okay, how can we start the project? Okay, the first step, you have to work in group of 4 to 5. You have to choose the people you will work with. Choose your colleagues, divide your class into 4 to 5 students. I think 4 to 5 is a good number to do this project together. Okay, then the second thing, you have to assign roles. Assign roles. What do you mean, Miss? How do we assign the roles? Yani one of you, he will do the research, or she will do the research. She will look up for safety rules and some advices for new drivers to avoid accidents. This is the first person will do that. The second person, he will write down the information, write down the notes, so you can work together to research and write down notes, okay? The second step is to create and collect art. يعني I'm not as good as you. I'm sure you are more creative than me. You have to look for art, for pictures, things. You have to design your poster. So make one of you responsible for the art, for the font, to choose the font, to choose the colors, okay? And the other one, he will present it in front of your class. He will present the information in front of your colleagues, okay? So after you assign the roles, who will do who, and you have to look up the information online. This is the third step, and then write down notes to have your poster. I want you to keep in mind, when you are writing down your notes and when you are writing down the safety rules and tips, you have to keep in mind using adverbs of manner. Do you remember we covered that in our lesson, in our unit, in our grammar lesson, okay? You have to keep in mind the adverbs of manner. We talked about how do we change the adverbs of manner when to change it from an adjective to an adverb, okay? We have to use, these are a list of adverbs of manner you can use. As we said before, some adverbs, they don't change from an adjective to an adverb, it's the same, like fast, fast. And some, they do change from good to well. They changed dramatically. Some, we only add ly, and if it ends with an L, we double the L and then Y. And if it ends with LE, we cross the E, we add Y. And if it ends with Y, we cross the Y, we add I, L, Y. The last one, if it ends with IC, we add A, L, L, Y. Okay, we talked about these rules. This is just to help you with the spelling of adverbs of manner. Also, when you are writing your tips, when you are doing the project, keep in mind using must and mustn't, should and shouldn't. Also, it was part of our grammar. Must and mustn't, we use it, do you remember, for when we are talking about rules, and we said must and mustn't is more formal than should and shouldn't. Should and shouldn't, we use it to give an advice, okay? This is the difference between two, and you have to use these when you are writing your list. Here, I have a list of vocabulary that can help you when you are writing your tips. When you're doing the project, we have these vocabulary, and these we covered it in our unit, okay? We have highway. Do you remember what does highway mean? The highway, it's I think highway, you can go over 100 in a highway. It's basically highway, you can find it outside the streets, okay? Signal lights. When you are turning right, you have to click on the signal so people behind you, they can see where to turn, where you are turning, okay? Speed limit. Every street, you can see a circle with the number. So this is the speed limit. Windshield, steering wheel, windshield wipers. You can use it with bad weather. So you don't have to use all of these vocabulary. You can use some of these vocabulary, okay? We have road signs, seat belt. You have to wear your seat belts, obey the law, pass, speed, watch out. These are some of the verbs you can use, like pass and speed. Watch out, carefully, slowly. These are some of the adverbs you can use. Well, in a hurry, run into traffic. Okay, these phrases you can use it when you are thinking about your list. Okay, for the project, we said research and prepare the list of driving. Khalas, we chose our partners, we divided the group, we know what to do, okay? Now, you have to make the poster and display it in front of your class. I prepared this poster, okay? I wrote driving tips. I'm sure you're gonna do much better appealing presentation than mine. You must, and you can see here how I used must, you must avoid distractions. You must hold the steering wheel. You must use turn signals. You mustn't go over speed. Okay, these are the list I did. Keep in mind, after must and mustn't and should and shouldn't, the verb, do we add an S, ED, anything? La, we just put the verb in the base form. صح? Keep that in mind when you are writing your list. And here we have, you should get familiar with your car. You should correct your seating position. You should adjust your seat in regards to the pedals. You should maintain a considerable distance from other vehicles, okay? This is how we do the poster. I'm sure you're gonna do it. This will be your homework. You have to do something similar to this. You have to make your own poster and present it in front of your class, okay? So what did we cover in our lesson today? We talked about how can we make a poster, okay? And present it in front of our class, a poster about safety rules and driving advices, okay? To avoid accidents, okay? To help your friend avoid accidents. That's it for today. Thank you for listening, and inshallah I will see you next class.